Welcome back to Solopreneur CEO. Oh my gosh. We are unscripted, guys. So this is going to be fun. We thought for this first episode of season 2, we would just catch up on what we've been up to because we last talked to you in June. And so we are back for season 2. Marsha and I are also going to be recording ourselves. That's why if you are on YouTube or wherever we're putting these clips, you'll see that we're a little fancy because we're like, let's do the video along with the audio. And now you'll get to see all of my weird hand movements and my air quotes and all the things that you were probably like, what does she actually look like while she's filming? So for this first episode of season 2, we just want to catch up. What have we been up to? Who have we been working with? What are we seeing? What trends are happening in the solopreneur world? And talk a little bit about what we think the season will be. But we're also letting you help drive that. We want to hear from you. Seriously. We really want you to be a part of what we're talking about here because it's not just me and Marsha. It's a whole community of solopreneurs. And we want to make sure that what we're talking about on the podcast is what you actually want to hear about. So yeah, really excited.
I'm so excited too, especially since last season, I think it was more of us finding our footing, like how we wanted it to unfold, because Honest Combos was really unscripted and last season wasn't completely scripted, but we were getting assistance from AI about what we should talk about based on what we've shared in the past and what our expertise is. I do think there is some good balance between the two of getting that help. But I am excited to be back because the first half of 2026 was just focused on my child who had major surgery on June 22nd. And that really threw me for a loop. And I learned a lot about how I want to do business and what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And I'm excited to share that because I think as solopreneurs, we need to really take into account what's happening in our personal lives. Our professional lives are not going to be great if we're white knuckling every single aspect of our life. That's probably going to help me with my communication style and what I actually want to talk about. I do fall into the, okay, we're going to be rigid and have a system for this and it's going to be great. And it's like, no, that's not how I work. You can't put me in a corner, Karen. Like, not that you were trying to or anything, but I always think that I'm like, this is how people do business. This is how successful people do business. And I'm like, I feel successful as a human. I might not be as successful as other business owners are, but that's not my priority right now.
That's a good jumping point right there. Because as a solopreneur, you are the only one that gets to define your success. But a lot of times we will be looking at other business owners and we're thinking, oh, I should be further along, or oh, I should be doing that kind of launch style, or oh, I should run those kind of ads. And you start to judge your business based on what someone else's business is doing. If you think about that iceberg picture, we're only seeing the tip. We're not seeing
Right.
all of whatever is underneath to power what's happening. I'm glad you said that. I think that's a good point. I just didn't want to gloss over that of like, success is your definition. And if your
Right.
definition, there's a book, I think it's The Magic of Tiny Business or something like that. And I was like, I love this because it was talking about tiny businesses are great. If that's what you want, if you want a tiny business, yay, let that be okay. A lot of times we're just conditioned though to just keep going. We don't even stop to soak in whatever moment we arrived in before we're on to the next goal, the next thing. Oh, we got to keep going. And what is that based on? Is it your internal actual desires, what you want to manifest in your life? Or is it based on, what you've been seeing on Instagram? And yes, I've been on Instagram way too much lately. But anyway, so I just didn't want to gloss over that because that is like the start. We talk about that a lot. What is your vision for your business? Because that's the only thing that matters. It does not matter what anyone else thinks, what anyone else is doing. It only matters what you actually want and that you are creating in alignment with that vision.
Thank you. Thank you for chiming in with that because I do, we tend to beat ourselves up. And I think it's because I knew the surgery was coming and then I had blocked off 4 to 6 weeks after just for recovery. So now that we're past that time off, like I gave myself so much grace. As soon as we had the surgery date, I actually wrote it down because I have to read stuff over and over and over again, and it said, you have permission to focus solely on your family right now. I wrote that down so that I could be reminded anytime I felt grippy about business, like, no, this is the focus. This is what's most important now. But then it's like, now we're post surgery, the kid's walking around, he's back to his shenanigans. Like he's like fully healed. But yeah, it's like I'm always gonna like beat myself up. And that's why you need a biz bestie. That's why you need a community. And if I'm in my silo and I'm only showing up how I think people want me to show up, I don't have the opportunity to be supported in the way that Karen supports me, right? Because she's thinking like, oh, Marsha's fine, like she's okay, you know, but it's like, no, like we have these conversations and then she's like, dude, check yourself. like you get to define what success is. Yeah, I'm just excited for this period in time because I have been getting out more. I've been very selective about what I've been doing, but when I get out now and I'm having these conversations, I'm like, oh, I do know what I'm talking about. I feel like now with the personal stuff, like being copacetic right now, that I can actually feed into other people, into other businesses and share and be open, and there's not that like elephant on my back. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's really important to give yourself that grace. Like you said, when you have those peaks and valleys in your life or when other things need to be a priority, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And we need to normalize the fact that as a solopreneur, you are the business. So everything that's going on with you is going to affect your business, your capacity for your business, the time that you can give it, the energy, the mental bandwidth, all the things. So it's okay if that has to be a little less or you got to adjust the amount of whatever you're giving to different things because it's life's. I mean, it's a lot. It's, I don't, yeah, I can't imagine how you would do it otherwise. You have
Yeah.
to just give yourself grace. You can't not. Otherwise, what's the alternative?
The alternative is that you're completely emotionally shut down
Yeah,
and you're making
burnout.
yourself sick. Yeah. You're so fragmented and you're trying so hard to keep the different parts of your life from bleeding over. And that's where the autoimmune diseases come in. That's where packing on the pounds and the not sleeping. That also comes with
Yeah.
perimenopause. So I'm not gonna Ryan's like, who's this Perry guy? I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm like, do it, babe. Like, and it was so
For
funny because
real.
he actually turned the air conditioner off the other day because we had a huge storm and he turned the air conditioner off. And then the next day he's like, is it hot up here? Like, am I going through the change? And he's like, oh, I forgot to turn the AC back on. I'm like, oh my God, Ryan. Like, it was so funny. We talk about Perry quite a bit here. I think that's especially important to talk about too, is if you're going through this hormonal change while you're transitioning in business, because we're never not transitioning in business, right? Once you hit a plateau, that's when you start to hire coaches or consultants or an ops manager or something like that, where you're going to that next level. Solopreneurs aren't made to do their job and then not evolve it, I think, because
Yeah.
you have a growth mindset, right? So that's something huge, like the transitions with our kids going back to school and going off to college and all of that. We're just constantly in transition. So knowing that you have to have like a full mind and body experience with the business ownership, with the personal life, because if you don't, you really will have that disconnection, I think, from every aspect of life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's
Yeah.
true. So over the summer, I don't know what it is. There's some quote about change doesn't take 21 days, it takes one decision. And
Mm,
I experienced that over the summer because literally one day I just was like, I'm done with being overweight. I'm done with having no energy. I'm done with not wanting to be on camera and create content for my business because I don't like how I look. And I just decided on that day that I was going to make a change. And now I'm about 10 pounds down since then. I have like 40 more to go. It's crazy. But I'm like, this needs to happen faster. You know, I'm impatient. But
you're
what I'm
20%, you're 20% of the way there.
yeah. And
Congratulations.
I'm already seeing changes. I can fit those jeans now. This is cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, the little bit less of the little chunkiness that was happening there. But it's like that one decision a couple of months ago. And now I have more energy. I feel a little bit better, right? And so I just think it's important. Like we will neglect ourselves, not intentionally.
No.
We don't even think we're actually doing any neglecting when it's happening. I told myself, oh, I'm focused on my kids. Oh, I'm focused on my job. I'm focused on my business. I'm working on this. I'm doing this. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to, I'm drinking enough water. Leave me alone. Like, but at the end of the day, I just had to sit with myself and say, but I don't like how I feel. I am tired. It's just so many things that the result of me not making this decision to change some of those habits and to take better care of myself, and then seeing how that was affecting like my grandson who would want to go on a walk, and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that, so now we're not
Yeah.
spending time together. Or again, with content for a business, the thing that I just do not ever feel like doing but I know I need to do. And now I'm like, maybe I don't mind getting on camera. And me and Marsha saying we'll actually record ourselves on these podcasts and share it. I'm just seeing subtle changes. And it's like, I don't think in the moment, oh, that's because I'm now taking better care of myself. But
Yeah.
if you sit and reflect, that really was a catalyst, right? As a solopreneur, that's also very important. You can't put yourself last on the list. You
Right.
really have to be first. And it feels weird as women, as business owners, as caregivers, as nurturers, as healers, all those things. We want to take care of everyone else first. We think that's the right thing to do. And you hear it all the time. You got to put your mask on before you can help others. All these metaphors for take care of you first. But I just want to emphasize that because it then benefits everyone else. When you are at the top of your game, when you are feeling good, looking good, and you on point, it benefits everything else in your life. Everyone else in your life feels the benefits of that. So just a little plug for take care of you.
With people who hear you can only have one priority at a time, it's like, no, your number one priority has to be yourself. It has to be your physical health, your mental health, like you said, because you don't realize how much it's affecting all of those different areas. But like when we don't have energy, we're more likely to snap at people. You're more likely to be doing work at the last minute and then like hyper focusing, but it's from a place of like high cortisol, and you might get it out, but like then like everything has a hangover
Mm-hmm.
if you're not like using natural energy, right? So if you're like caffeinating or popping an Adderall or something like that and then just banging something out, it's going to affect you like the next day or 2 days later. It's always take care of yourself first. With my kid going through the surgery, me taking care of myself was putting the out of office message on my calendar, letting people know in advance, and then also taking the pressure off myself. Like I don't have to show up, I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. I reached out to my retainer clients. I was like, this is what is happening. People were dropping food off and it was amazing. I was doing the no gluten, no dairy because of the Hashimoto's. And that was great. It was really helping with my energy. During his recovery, I was like, I'm not going to restrict my diet because I was forgetting to eat and we were having food dropped off. So I was like, I'm just not going to do it. I gained, Karen, the 10 pounds you lost, I gained that plus some. I was like, you mother, I was so mad because like, it's 6 months and you lose like 10, 15 pounds 1 week post surgery. And I gained like 10 pounds. And I'm like, man, this is a mind screw. Cause they tell you it's like, it didn't happen overnight. And it's like, guess what? We
Mm-hmm.
sent anyways. Once the kids get back to school, and that's not like a lie, they're going back on Monday. I am gonna kick the dairy and the gluten because it just physically does not make me feel well. And I know I am kind of messing with my thyroid and everything. I don't want to do that, but also I had to be realistic. Like it's more important for me to be able to eat and function. And we were kind of just laying around and watching shows. You have to at any given time think, what season am I going into? What season am I in now? Am I at my best? And it doesn't have to be a regimented, like every morning I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. If that works for you, that's great, but find what works for you. What works for me is I read a chapter every morning. That really helps me instead of dorking around on my phone first thing. I get up, I walk the dogs, make my coffee, and then I read a chapter out of my book. And it just helps me start the day right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first wake up, your brain is still in an alpha state, and it's really important to be intentional about what you intake in that first hour or so. Yeah, phone should not be on the list. Like, you do not want to do any doom scrolling first thing in the morning because it just puts you in a shitty mind. You're like, oh, great. Oh, her stuff's, oh, look, oh, great. And then you get hit with all
Yeah.
the ads. You don't want to fill your brain with that first thing in the morning. So I love that you're reading a chapter. I'm also doing some meditation and journaling first in the
That's
morning.
good.
I'm trying to read a chapter, but I don't always get to it. Sometimes I'll listen. You have to be intentional about what you are feeding your brain, the brain food. I
Right.
told Marcia I recently subscribed to Sirius and I've been listening to talk radio more, which is so interesting. I used to listen to talk radio way back when, and so just bringing it back into my routine has been really fun. And I love just listening to other people talk and debate and discuss issues and stuff like that. And so that podcast, audiobooks, I am all in on feeding the brain good brain food because
Yeah.
that is essential.
Yes. Yeah, and I like that too because I think that's going to benefit our podcast. Like you listening to the talk radio, right? Because that's kind of what we're doing. We're just not
Yeah,
live, which I'm sure at one point we'll be live. But
maybe.
yeah, maybe we're improving and growing and just seeing what works well for us, and then we'll take it from there because we're not
Yeah.
afraid of change, right? Like change is the
No,
only
I
constant.
mean, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Change is the only thing that we can depend on. It will change. It's crazy how fast things can turn on a dime. There's this one lady, I'm sure everyone has seen. Her name is Jessie Jean, I think. And she did this Yap challenge. And she went from, I think, making like an average of $9,000 a month as a creator to making like 7 or 8 million dollars in a matter of weeks. Can you imagine the amount of nervous system regulation you have to do to normalize receiving that much at once? That's an extreme example of how quickly things could change. I just can't even imagine. As I'm watching all that, and I'm, been on Instagram too much, I told y'all. So I'm on Instagram, I'm looking, and I'm like, this is interesting. And then I tried to imagine what that would be like if that happened to me. What would break in my business? What
Yeah.
would break in my brain, like to even process that type of receiving in that short amount of time? How would that feel? It was an interesting exercise to go through. So I actually would recommend, you don't have to base it on her real life experience, but just think about the vision you have for your business, whatever that, the crazy, I shouldn't even think that, could that really happen dream that you have? And then just really imagine, what if it happened today?
Yeah.
What if you literally woke up tomorrow and I don't know, whatever happened, the God smile, you went viral, whatever has to happen, it happens. You achieve what your vision is. How would that feel? What does that feel like? What would break in your business? Because guarantee your business gonna break. That's not even an option. Your business will freaking crash. And so you have to think about that. What would that be like? What would you have to fix? What do you want to think about ahead of time and put in place so that the break is a little less impactful? Because again, if you have a rapid growth like that, there's no debating. It's going to break something. That was just an interesting exercise to think about because we dream so much about what we want, but it's always far in the future. Like
Right.
we don't really dream about like what if it literally happened right now, today? What would that feel like? Because it just seems so ridiculous. Like, of course, it's not going to happen today. I don't think Jessie thought she was going to make $7 million in a few weeks. So it's possible. Anything is possible. I encourage you to think about that dream and embody it now and feel what that feels like. Because the closer you get to what that feels like, you're going to be like, I need that to happen. I need to stop bojangling. Whatever I've been doing that isn't making that happen is getting cut because I need that feeling. I need it to be real right now. So, yeah, that was a very fun exercise.
I think that we did such a good job of setting up the foundation for the Success Secret Society that I don't know what would break. The only thing I think that would break would be our capacity. So
Yeah.
we would have to add on meetings so
Mm-hmm.
that it wouldn't be overwhelming. You wouldn't have 30 people in a room at one
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I like that you said that part in your brain, especially if you catastrophize Whenever things are happening and you're like, let me just buy something, you might go out and hire a bunch of 1099s who you want to fix your back end. And so it's like doing anything out of panic. Build your network now. I have probably 3 that I can think of off the top of my head, 3 women that I want to hire for different parts of my business. So I've just been getting to know them better. And then once the time comes, then I'll reach out. I like that exercise. I think that's a good practice to do, is just imagine you wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden you got 2,000 orders or like
Can you imagine?
inquiry forms, or it would be so exciting. And obviously like your nervous system, your adrenaline and cortisol and all that would be going, but it's like, how can you do it in the most graceful way where you don't completely just like,
Yeah. Because
drive
that could make
yourself in a
you
wall.
right. You could like fall apart and be like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Like, what? And you don't want that to happen. So I think the more that you prepare yourself to succeed, instead of expecting failure or expecting, oh, it probably is not even going to work, or I'm probably not even going to get all the people that I wanted, just really prepare yourself to succeed. It's a whole different mindset, and it's a whole different way to show up. When you show up expecting to succeed, your energy is so different than when you're like, oh, I'm just gonna try it out, see if it works, throw some spaghetti on the wall. But no harm, no foul if it doesn't happen. No, show up like, oh, I'm gonna get my 20 people in my program. Let's go. That's a whole different energy. So yeah.
It is. Yeah. And I should embody that because you're kind of calling me out, but whatever. All right. Well, let's wrap this up.
Too, yeah.
Okay. On that note, we're going to end this. I'm super excited for you all to be tuning in, and we're happy to be back. I think Karen and I have found a natural cadence. We'll take the summers off, regroup. I have a lot of exciting stuff that's happening in my business. And so it's good to have these breaks and then come back refreshed and excited and happy.
Ready to go.
Yep. All right. We'll see you next week.